I think certainly the beginning of the year, how this roster played without LeBron and where they were. I think 19-7 to start the season, 5-8 since. They haven't had a good win against a team above 500 since December 14th. But I will say this real quick.
Go ahead.
And ESPN, by and large, is the LeBron James network. And one of his biggest supporters is Malika Andrews. And there have been times in the past where people try to bring up Kobe Bryant and she'll get pissed off and cut him off. Like when Matt Barnes tried to bring it up in Malika Andrews, let me come out here and that's Malika Andrews, right?
Started comparing their record before and after LeBron came back. And she hit the kill switch on that conversation immediately. Zero debate, zero dialogue, just a rude interruption. Keep in mind, this network dedicated a whole segment to LeBron's morning routine like the man discovered hydration. It is happening again. But before we dissect this, I have a serious question. When was the last time ESPN actually let someone critique LeBron without getting interrupted or having the topic derail? Let me know in the comments, because this whole charade is getting absurd. There was this analyst, his name escapes me right now, but you guys definitely know who I'm talking about. He jumped in right after Kendrick Perkins to discuss the Lakers' record before and after LeBron arrived. The second he touched that topic, Malika Andrews shut him down cold. Let's paint the picture. ESPN was running a segment breaking down the Lakers' chemistry issues and all that jazz. Kendrick Perkins was rambling about the team needing unity. Just your standard cookie-cutter analysis. Then this other analyst steps up with cold, hard facts. He points out they started 19-7 only to slide to 5-8 recently. He is just reading the stats. Numbers do not lie, right? Apparently they do over there. The moment he started connecting the dots between LeBron's return and the team's nosedive, Malika jumped in. No polite segue, no waiting for a pause, she just cut the mic. If they're not clicking on the court, you know the chemistry in the locker room is non-existent. Look at the early season without LeBron. They were 19-7. Since then, 5-8. They haven't secured a quality win over a 500 team since mid-December. Let me just add one thing real quick. The floor is yours. The Western Conference standings are their safety net right now, keeping them in the top 7. I do not see them falling out of the race while they figure things out. They are definitely not Oklahoma City. They have serious issues to resolve. Like Brian mentioned, this upcoming 9-game road trip is going to be the defining stretch. That said, I am probably not as pessimistic about their chances as the general public. Plus, they are missing Austin Reeves. I am not saying he fixes every defensive hole, but I want to see how they look when he returns, which probably will not be until the end of the month. She just bulldozed right over him, pivoting instantly to Austin Reeves' injury and how we need a larger sample size with him healthy. Textbook deflection, and the look on her face while she did it, absolutely priceless. It was that "how dare you speak the truth" glare. It tells you everything about ESPN's agenda. They are not in the business of honest analysis. They are in the business of narrative protection. The story they are selling is that LeBron is infallible, even when the stats scream otherwise. Let's drill down into those numbers because they matter. Starting the season 19-7 is no fluke. That is a legitimate record, good enough to fight for a top 4 seed in the West. The squad had juice. They played defense. Then LeBron returns from his hiatus and suddenly they are 5-8. That is not a coincidence, it is a pattern. But at ESPN, it is forbidden territory. Why not run a segment on that and ask the hard questions? Hold on a second. This team had a specific identity before he showed up. Are the Lakers actually better without LeBron James? Take it or leave it. But you cannot utter those words on air because ESPN is basically the LeBron James fan club. They seriously ran a feature on his daily schedule like it was breaking global news. You had Iman Shumpert sitting there, acting mind-blown that LeBron drinks water and gets sleep. They were discussing hyperbaric chambers and his specific carrot preferences. This is supposed to be a sports network, not a lifestyle vlog or a celebrity shrine. Their job is to analyze the game, not the player's diet. Instead, they waste airtime worshiping a 40-year-old who leads the league in cherry picking. He is camping out under the rim while his teammates play 4-on-5 defense, but sure, let's discuss his vegetable intake. ESPN has lost all credibility, man. You cannot take them seriously when stuff like this goes down. The analyst is citing the record and she jumps in with excuses. No, let the man finish his point. Malika Andrews is one of the worst culprits in this LeBron protection scheme. Recall when Matt Barnes tried to mention Kobe? She got visibly irritated and shut it down instantly. The pattern is undeniable. Whenever someone brings up facts or angles that might tarnish tarnish LeBron's image, she steps in. That is not journalism. It is public relations masquerading as sports analysis. The guy she silenced had a valid point. The Lakers' defensive rating was superior before LeBron came back. The pace was faster, the ball movement was crisp. These are measurable stats. But facts are irrelevant when you are running a propaganda machine. The most frustrating part is that the Lakers fan base deserves real analysis. They deserve an honest breakdown of why they are struggling. Maybe relying on a 40-year-old who ignores defense and dominates the ball is not the winning formula for 2025. Instead, we're fed updates on Austin Reeves' health and lectures about small sample sizes. That pivot Malika made to the Western Conference standings? Weak sauce. Sure, technically LA is still in the mix for the postseason. Congrats, you're sitting at number 7. That ain't the target. You don't build a title contender just to scrape by. Being the 7th seed lands you in the play-in tourney, meaning your year could wrap up before the real playoffs even tip off. That isn't winning, it's just mediocrity with a cushion. And glossing over the fact they haven't taken down a squad over 500 since December 14th? That doesn't defend LeBron's impact, it's damning evidence against it. They've faced plenty of winning teams since then and dropped every single game. Meanwhile, they're getting smoked by the Blazers, who are basically fielding a G League roster right now. Drew Timme, a guy most folks didn't even realize was on the payroll, exploded for a career-best 21 points. That shouldn't go down if LeBron is supposedly lifting his teammates up like the story goes. Let's talk about the big issue ESPN pretends isn't there. The Kings stands don't give a damn about wins. It's all about the box score, period. That's their whole hierarchy. He can drop 25 points on awful shooting splits. LA could get blown out by 20 and his followers will still swarm social media, hyping up those 25 points like he achieved something. Did the team get the W? Doesn't matter. Did they play solid ball? Who cares? Did Bron get his stats? That's the only thing that counts. That's why his numbers are plastered all over your feed every night. Win or lose, he's putting up whatever numbers he's putting up, and his base takes that as proof he's still got it. In the meantime, the Lakers are fighting just to stay over 500 and getting crushed by teams in full rebuild mode. But yeah, let's just obsess over him scoring buckets at age 40. Forget that those buckets come with zero defense, an offense that stagnates, and a squad that actually looks better when he sits. The plus-minus data paints the real picture. He was a minus 16 against Portland, the second worst mark on the whole team. Their offensive rating, defensive efficiency, and overall metrics all tick up when he's on the bench. These are hard facts you can find in any advanced database, but you'll never hear it on the worldwide leader because Malika Andrews will shut you down before you can get the words out. What really slaps you in the face about this whole mess is how ESPN treats its viewers like morons, assuming we won't clock the constant interruptions and topic pivots. Like we can't check the standings ourselves and realize the analyst was dropping straight facts? They're betting on people being too lazy or blinded by fandom to verify the data, hoping they'll just swallow whatever story is being force-fed. And the whole Bronny James saga just pours gas on the fire. You've got a guy on a guaranteed deal who, frankly, has no business being in the league right now, burning a roster spot that could belong to a contributor like Drew Timme. But you're not allowed to call that out on air because it makes LeBron's judgment and priorities look shaky. So we get crickets. No tough grilling, no accountability, just more fluff pieces about his pregame rituals. JJ Redick has been handed a nightmare gig as head coach. He landed the role because the Kings signed off on him. Now he's stuck juggling a lineup where roster spots are burned on a vanity project and he can't make basic coaching moves without triggering a media circus. Timme balls out, and right away folks are wondering why he's been glued to the bench. It's clear as day, but nobody at the network will say it out loud. Bronny needs that floor time to validate his deal, even though he's nowhere near NBA ready. They completely gloss over the nepotism angle. In any other context, if a superstar strong-armed his franchise into drafting his kid and handing him a guaranteed check despite not being ready, it'd be headline news. We'd be debating it non-stop. Pundits would ask if it's fair to the rest of the locker room, but since it's LeBron, dead silence. Or even worse, they spin it as a touching father-son fairy tale while ignoring how it wrecks the basketball product. The contrast between how other outlets cover the Lakers compared to ESPN is night and day. Everyone else is willing to have an honest conversation about the team's issues. They'll highlight the atrocious defense, point out LeBron's total lack of effort on that end, and criticize the nonsensical roster build. Meanwhile, ESPN is chatting about carrots and hyperbaric chambers. What drives me crazy is that we could be having a real discussion here. LA kicked off the season looking sharp with a totally different vibe. Then LeBron came back, the dynamic shifted, and the results tanked. That's worth breaking down. What happened? Why the slide? Can they get back to what was working? A serious sports network would dive into those questions. Instead, they silence anyone attempting to go there and deflect to injury reports or excuses about sample sizes. Malika Andrews embodies everything broken in modern sports media. She isn't a journalist hunting for the truth or asking the hard-hitting questions. She's a narrative gatekeeper shielding specific athletes from heat. When your gig involves cutting off people speaking facts just because it might bruise an ego, that ain't journalism. That's public relations. And the network is cutting her checks to do exactly that. The funny thing is, honest critique would actually help the team. If they owned the issues, they could fix them. Maybe that means dialing back LeBron's minutes. Maybe it means tweaking the offense to move the rock more. Maybe it means actually holding him responsible on defense. But you can't solve problems you refuse to admit are real. And the network won't let a soul admit they exist. The Lakers will stay on the struggle bus until someone in that building has the guts to talk honestly about what's failing. The stats prove they play a better brand of ball without LeBron dominating the rock. I'm not saying you bench the guy. It means shifting his role, utilizing him differently, and stopping the charade that he's the same player from 2016. You have to adapt to who he is today. But we can't have that chat when the biggest platform in the country silences anyone who tries to bring it up. When they run segments on LeBron's nap routine instead of breaking down why his squad looks better without him, they're failing the fans. When Malika Andrews interrupts analysts mid-thought just for citing hard data on the Lakers' performance, she is doing a massive disservice to everyone tuning in for legitimate basketball discourse. This has nothing to do with throwing shade at LeBron. It is about demanding genuine breakdown rather than celebrity idolatry masquerading as journalism. The real tragedy is that James's resume is bulletproof enough to handle valid criticism. He is undeniably one of the greatest to ever lace them up. A couple of rough years at age 40 do not erase that history, but acting like the decline is not happening actually cheapens his legacy by making the whole narrative feel manufactured. It makes it seem like his career needs a bodyguard to protect the storyline instead of just letting his achievements stand tall on their own. The network has clearly picked a lane, effectively becoming LeBron TV, where objective takes are banned and Andrew silences anyone daring to bring up facts that clash with the script. Any member of Laker Nation searching for genuine insight into their squad is going to have to find a new outlet, seeing as the major sports giant is more focused on LeBron's snacking habits than actually covering the game. Andrews silencing legitimate critiques captures everything wrong with the current coverage. They would rather hype up his diet than admit the roster had better flow while he was on the bench. The statistics speak for themselves, but it seems reality simply does not align with the fairy tale they are trying to sell. If you are exhausted by media outlets insulting your intelligence, smash that like button and subscribe for raw commentary where guests actually get to finish their sentences.